On with the show. Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back. And when I say we're back, I'm talking about all of us. Round of applause for Stu Stewart. Is back after a long absence to do some back surgery. And he's looking good, and he's feeling good.
Yep.
And he's back on the job. So
great to be back.
The whole team is right here in the studio. And we got Jonathan in the control room, and we got Rick Kearney, our certified diagnostic master technician. We got Nancy Stewart, my wife and co-host and female advocate. The whole team here, championship team to defend you against the evil car dealers of the world. And we've been doing this for a long, long time. It's a good show. It's an exciting show. Probably the most exciting part of the show is our mystery shopping report. I won't say probably. It actually is. And we've got another doozy today. It's New Angle. I'll tell you who we shopped. We shopped CarMax, the largest retailer of used cars in the world. And as usual, we did it for a reason. We try to come up with a new angle, a new twist, some new information to benefit you, the listeners, and the watchers to the show. Speaking of watchers, I don't have my list of telephone numbers here, so I know I'll get one shortly, but we rely on you, the audience out there, the visual, the video audience, as well as the audio ones.
Jonathan.
I have it right here.
I got
and
it.
Even though I've been doing the show for 20 years, I can't remember the telephone numbers. That tells you something, I'm not sure what, but we love to hear from you. And if you don't call the show, it's just not as much fun, and it's not as informative, because your questions are on the minds of thousands of other people, even on our minds. Sometimes you ask questions we don't have the answers for, but we find them most of the time. And our favorite method of communication is the old-fashioned telephone, and that number is 877-960-9960. You might want to write that down. If you haven't got a question right now, probably don't. But as the show progresses, we're on for 2 hours. We're on from 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. I give that Eastern Standard Time out because we're all over the country, and the world for that matter. And if you write the number down, 877-960-9960, when you think of something, give us a call. We will prioritize your phone call. Telephones, it has the personality, the warmth. It's just more complete communication. I know it's old-fashioned. I know you folks are like I am. You text a lot, you email a lot, but there's nothing like the old-fashioned voice. A voice communicates something just in and of itself, even without the words. So let's hear from you, and we'll drop whatever we're doing, and we'll jump on the telephone. Nancy Stewart monitors all our phone calls on her laptop, and they come through the switchboard, and she will recognize you and your number and your location, and we stop what we're doing, we go to the telephone. So 877-960-9960. Let's get those phone calls coming in ASAP. 877-960-9960. And for you texters, and I admit I'm a texter, I really, in my daily life, prefer texting because you can get more text, you get back to them, it's not invasive. You get a text, you get back to it a little bit later. Telephone, ring, you got to answer the phone. So our text number, for most of you probably, is 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. And we'll accumulate the texts. We don't get to them as quickly as we do the phone calls, but we'll get to them. And Stu is accumulating them on his list over there. And so before the show's over, we'll get to your text. 772-497-6530. And probably our most, I don't know why YouTube is so popular. I mean, I guess I do. I mean, YouTube is YouTube. I mean, it's huge. So youtube.com/Rolling Cars. And Rick Kearney, to my right, also our expert on technical matters. Rick Kearney accumulates the YouTubes, youtube.com/Earl on Cars. Have a huge number of great YouTubers out there. And in the past several weeks, we've been getting more YouTube comments than anything else. And there's Facebook. Stu monitors the Facebook.com now that he's back. And Facebook.com/Earl on Cars. So we're streaming, and you can see how pretty I am, especially since I got my face fixed. And no more bandages, no more stitches. And here I am, I'm pretty.
Yay.
So
Closure.
tune us in. You can see us visually, hear us audio-wise, and your comments are really what make this show interesting. I'm going to turn the mic over to Nancy Stewart, my co-host, and we've been studying all morning. We get up early on Saturday mornings. We go over the automotive news. We go over newspaper clippings. I mean, we do our preparation, and so we're prepared for you. You give us your best shot. Ask your hardest questions, and Nancy Stewart has a special offer. I've never heard of any other radio show or any show that does this. But we do something crazy to encourage you ladies out there to call the show. And it's working because we have a lot of great, extremely intelligent, interesting lady callers, thanks to Nancy. Nancy, the mic is all yours.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Earl Stewart on Cars. You're a big part of the show. We appreciate your company and your communication, whichever you choose, to get in touch with us. There's a whole lot to get to for the next 2 hours. I have a question for everyone. Are you still waiting for your vehicle? Has it been delayed in any way? We'd love to hear from you. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. For the ladies this morning, as usual, we have $50 for the first 2 new female callers. Take advantage of that. Give us a call and share your experience with us, whether you purchased, leased, whether you went in for service, anything at all, or just give us a hi, a hello, and we will welcome you with open arms. 877-960-9960, and the text number is 772-497-6530. And don't forget your anonymous feedback. We love to hear from you from youranonymousfeedback.com. And also take advantage of Earl's Vigilantes. Go to Earl on Cars and sign up, and you can help somebody in your community. We'll talk more about that later. Now back we're going to go right to the phones. We have a couple of callers that have been holding. We'll take John's call from Jupiter first. Good morning. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thanks for taking my call. Earl, you and I just met a few times and chatted very informally. We have the same eye doctor. So one of your long time ago employees has worked at my firm. I'm now retired, but for the last, 25 years. So we have that in common. We've chatted about that a few times.
Well, give Dr. Middleman a plug. He's
exactly.
He's a great doctor, isn't he?
I'll tell you, Earl, I love my new cataract, my new lenses. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, change, my golf game's not any better, but, it may eventually come around. Anyway, thanks for taking my call. I have a question. I own a 2010 Corvette coupe, and like the little old lady who just went to church on Sunday for the last, whatever it is now, 12 years, I've pretty much just gone to and from the golf course here in Jupiter. So I've got about, 47,000 miles on the car. Wow. And it's in very good shape. So but I am thinking it's time to move on to something else. And in terms of selling it, I have no idea at this point if I want to buy a new car or what, so I don't really know. But I'm just trying to determine the value of the car. So I went to Black Book online and looked at the retail, wholesale, loan, etc. And I guess that's my first question. And then the next will deal with their ratings of extra clean, clean, clean. But what should I look at for the best number for the real value that I could get for my car on Black Book? Would it be wholesale or loan or retail?
I think I don't think you should be using the Black Book right now. The used car market is in such flux. We watched it ride up to historic highs in the last couple of years, and now it's coming down pretty fast. So the Black Book is a little publication. I know you might get it online, but the best way to get the value for your car is just to get bids from three different buyers, an online source, a CarMax, maybe a Chevy dealer too, because it's a Corvette, because that's going to give you a real number.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, but so really, if it's really not that accurate or the best measure, then I really don't need to worry about. I'm assuming extra clean. Just cross it out that no one's going to give you extra clean. But for example, with my car, given the mileage, you can adjust the base. The Black Book mentions, and so it adds about close to $4,000 to the base. Is that legitimate?
No,
given
see the people that are going to be buying the car are not going to use Black Book. They're not going to look at that at all.
Yeah,
they're going to look at the Manheim market reports, which are the in real time transactions across the country at all the various auctions, and even right now that's kind of sketchy because. The MMR value today will not be the MMR value in a couple of days.
Yeah, Manheim is the largest auction. It's like almost a monopoly. They're all over the country, and that's the most common referred to wholesale version of used car prices that you're going to find. There's also within markets still we use. I'm blanking on the name of the service we use for pricing.
It's vAuto.
vAuto, yeah. vAuto is more regional, and we'd be glad to check it for you on vAuto. They give you a range of what the prices would be within a geographic area, zip code area, and so between vAuto and Manheim Auction, you can get a real accurate price on what that Corvette's worth. By the way, the prices are coming back, and Corvette never got hit too bad compared to everything else. And a gem, pristine car like you have, 47,000 miles, 12-year-old car, you should get a pretty good price for it.
Okay. And you did mention, I was handling my mother-in-law's estate a few years ago, and I sold her, but it was an older Honda Accord. I sold that to CarMax, and, I thought I got a reasonably fair price, but it's not as nice as car as I have, so I don't know if that's a good, so you said go to CarMax, and We Buy Any Auto, what about We Buy Any Car?
I'm glad you mentioned CarMax, because we did go to CarMax. That's our mystery shopping target that Stu set us up for and wrote the report on. And so that comes at the end of the show. But the reason we shopped them, John, was that they are very heavy in their inventory, meaning that they bought in a lot of cars, traded them in and bought cars in the past when the used car prices were a lot higher. Now, the used car prices came down, but CarMax, surprising to me, didn't adjust. We did, and your more progressive dealers recognized the fact that the wholesale market was coming down, and we adjusted our prices by writing them down. CarMax, we found out, did not. So right now, CarMax is very, very careful when they buy a car because they're already too heavy in their inventory. I'd still get a price from them, just like I would WeBuyAnyCar.com and Carvana. But even Carvana is having huge financial problems. They are on the verge, actually, of bankruptcy. So your best bet, when Stu says shop it around, I'd go to 3 Chevrolet dealers, and at least 3, and I think they would fight over your car. I think that would be a pristine car for their lot. And if I were you, I'd go online, maybe do 4 or 5 Chevrolet dealers. Yeah.
Okay. Well, but I'd still need to obviously take the car to them, and and let them look at it and all that good stuff. But okay. And again, the Manheim and the vAuto, though, someone who's not a dealer cannot. You probably subscribe to those,
Correct.
so I couldn't access those, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, we could for you.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to give Stu or me a call or Nancy, we'll get.
Okay.
We could get your Mannheim number.
Well, that'd be wonderful. I won't. How about maybe early in the week? Do you have a number I could call, or use your text here that you announce on?
You could just call the dealership and ask for me, or Jason Stewart. Jason Stewart is my brother, and he'd be the one who would be helping putting the value on your Corvette.
Okay. Well, you're very kind. I will do that. Maybe then I'll get rid of it and come buy a Toyota. So, okay.
There you go.
Great.
Yeah, John, you
right,
couldn't
thanks
be
very
in a better position right now. You're in a great position to negotiate.
Yeah.
So take advantage of it while you
Very
can.
good. Thank you. Enjoy your show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
877-960-9960. And you can text us at 772-497-6530. As I said earlier, your anonymous feedback is pretty important. You can, use that as a way of communicating with us. And we're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Maxine from Melbourne, Florida. She's a first-time female caller.
Ooh. Ka-ching.
No, she's not. She called before. Maxine, good morning. Welcome back.
Oh, good morning. No, I didn't call before.
Well, all right, then you're
I was-
$50 richer.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that.
You are a first-time caller?
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
I had sent a. I sent a text
Before we get
message.
started, Maxine, I want to let you know that you can leave your contact information with Jeremy in the control room. It is the only way I can get you a check. There's no other way for me to get your contact information. And when you
Okay.
do that with Jeremy, he'll pass that to me, and I will write the check out and send it to you. What can we
Okay,
do for
will
you
I
this
be-
morning?
Do I just stay on the phone when I'm done talking
Yes.
to you? Is that
That's
okay?
right.
All right. Okay. First of all, I apologize for my voice. My allergies are killing me, but other than that, I had sent a text message in weeks ago, and I got a reply back from someone from your show said I should call in. Last October of 21, I went to a car dealer, and I was looking at a Kia Soul, and I told him when I got there that if I have a mobility lift on the back of my car, and I told him if I can't put it on the Soul, I can't buy the car. He said, "Oh, that's not a problem," and he said, "Well, let's see if your financing goes through, and if it does, we'll put a hitch on it and get you hooked up." And so we did that. I didn't take the Soul for a drive or nothing because I knew what it was and I wanted one. Well, about 3 days later, he called me back and said, "I'm sorry, we can't put a hitch and your lift on the Soul. It's too small." And I said, "Okay, well, at least I tried." He said, "Well, come on up and we'll see what else we can find for you." So I get there, and he says, "Well, come back to my desk." He said, "I got good news and bad news." And I said, "Well, first of all, you shouldn't have any news, but what is it?" He said, "Well, you own the Soul, and we own your car. And you can't leave here today with your car." And
Wow.
I'm like, okay.
Hmm.
He pressured me and pressured me. So I literally had me in tears at one point.
Yeah.
I'm a senior citizen. I'm disabled. I felt like I was backed into a corner. And I know better. I mean, I'm not dumb, and you know what I mean? I knew that I was being done wrong,
Yeah.
but he had me to the point I couldn't think straight and get myself straightened out to get out of this situation. I found out later all I had to do was go out and get my car and leave, and he couldn't have done a darn thing to me. But, and I tried talking to lawyers. Nobody would talk to me. I got stuck with a car with a $500 car payment
Wow.
because instead of trading my car in, he traded in that new Kia Soul in on this Kia Sportage. I ended up I owe way more than it's worth. I still owe $30,000 on the car after making over a year's worth of payments on it. I said to him, I said, "Okay, number one," I said, "as you can see, my health isn't all that good. I said, what if I get to the point where I can't work anymore? I said, how am I going to make the car payment? I said, I can't do this. And I said, or what if I lose my job? He says, well, if you lose your job, you can always get a job at Publix.
That's
And
what
I
they said to you?
how am I going to, pardon?
That's what he said to you?
Oh, yeah, it gets better. And I said, well, how the hell am I going to work at Publix? I can't stand any length of time. So then he says, well, he says the other thing, he said, if you quit eating it out at fast food restaurants, he said, I'm sure you'd save enough money to make your car payment. I said, excuse me, what did you
I
just
can't
say to me?
I can't believe that. I mean, I believe that. That's astonishing.
Maxine, would you mind telling us the name of the dealer?
Sure. At the time, it was Coco Kia. It's now Jackson Kia.
Where is that located? I'm not
Melbourne?
familiar with it.
Melbourne?
Melbourne. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of them.
Yeah,
It's
we're
in
not
Coco,
familiar with them
Florida.
either.
Yeah, it's up at Coco, yeah.
Which attorney? How many attorneys did you try to reach? You have an extremely good case, and I'm surprised. We do know there's a problem sometimes with attorneys if they don't see the monetary potential.
Yeah.
But I see pretty good monetary potential here for them. How many did you try?
I called, I don't know how many, I called probably about four
Yeah.
of them or so, and everybody I talked to said, oh, we don't handle cases like that.
Yeah.
And I finally just gave up. And I went around to, I think, every car dealer in Brevard County trying to get someone to, let me trade it in on something cheaper. But I couldn't, nobody would touch it because it's an upside-down loan.
Mm-hmm. Maxine, you should file a complaint with the Department of Motor Vehicles, the Florida Department of Motor Vehicles. There's a form on our website, on our EarlandCars.com. You can download a form for a complaint to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You would try to contact them by phone or do that complaint. They have a lot of power. What they've done here is a pretty severe violation. One of your problems may be that the salesman will deny what he said and what he did. If he was to tell the truth about what he did, that would be a very serious violation. The Department of Motor Vehicles can actually revoke the Kia dealer's license. They can fine them. They can suspend the license, and that would be the quickest way to get the dealer's attention. You need to get through also to the owner of the dealership or the general manager. The salesman is...
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did that when it was Coco Kia. I went up and I talked to him. He said, well, there was nothing. They told me there was nothing they could do. Then it's under new ownership now, and I took my son-in-law with me, and he was out of town when I bought this car, and that's kind of why I got if he'd have been with me that day, this probably wouldn't have happened to me. But he went with me, and we went up and spoke to the new manager up there. And he said, well, that was under different ownership. I said, that's beside the point. You still have that same guy working for you.
Mm-hmm.
He still has the same desk. He's still here. I said, and if he did it to me, do you think I'm the only one he's going to do that to? But nobody would talk to me up there.
Well, we'll try to help you on this, Maxine. If you can get us the specifics, the name of the dealer and the name of the salesperson, if you can text that to us or call us and give us that information, we'll try to get you an attorney that will help you. And I also think that you really need to file that complaint with the Department of Motor Vehicles. This is a terrible wrong they've done you, and it needs to be corrected, and we'll help you any way we can.
Okay, the other thing is, I lost my job the beginning of the year. January 1st, I lost my job.
Sorry, real sorry.
So now I'm to the point where I can't afford this payment, and I'm going to have to let the car go back to the bank.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know what else to do.
Maxine,
And,
this is Nancy.
Yes.
We realize you're in a bad position right now, but I have a question for you. When you were spoken to about your options for employment by the salesperson, were you alone?
You mean at the car dealership?
Yes.
Yeah, we were. It was just him and I at the desk.
Okay, so did you say your brother-in-law or your nephew was with you when you went back in?
Yeah, he went with me when we went back up. Yeah, we went back up to see if they would.
Okay, so you were spoken to while you were alone. You know, Maxine, this goes on more often than anyone wants to admit, and it's unconscionable. And I truly am sorry for you, and there is no reason for anyone to be taken advantage of, whether they have a job, don't have a job, whether they're upside down, anything. You must be respected, whether you're a man or a woman. And this gentleman, and I use the term loosely, he was definitely out of line. And please, Maxine, that information you're going to give me for contact, please give Jeremy the information that Earl just asked you for. It will help us out tremendously. Our voices must be heard. There are too many dealerships out there now that still exist and base their sales on this intimidation.
Yep.
So please get me your information.
I did talk. Like I said, I think I talked to every dealership in Brevard County, and I tell you what, I can't tell you. I remember this one salesman. He said, we get a bad rep anyway. He says, but when somebody, and he gave him a name, he says, treat someone like you like that. He said, all that does is make the rest of us look even worse.
Exactly.
Said,
it spreads quickly. Maxine, I can't thank you enough for calling. It was great hearing from you. Please stay in touch, and please stay on the line and give Jeremy the information that we need.
I most definitely will. I did have one attorney tell me to blast him on social media, and I just did that when I lost my job, and I'm like, well, here I go. Now I'm going to lose my car. Ruin my credit. I got good credit. Now my credit's going to be ruined because of him. And I put his picture on even.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
but,
Again, thank you. We have another caller waiting. I'd love to talk to you further, but we're out of time. Have a wonderful weekend.
I appreciate it.
And there is light at the end of the tunnel. Stay in touch with us, please.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And as I said earlier, your anonymous feedback, take advantage of that. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. And there's no better time than right now for you to read Earl's latest column, Don't Let Dealers Steal Your Discount on a New Car. Go to Earl on Cars and take a look at that column. There's a whole lot of information in that column. And also the last one was it's time to begin the car buying process. And also a great read for these times that we're in that are so volatile. And again, you can go to Earl on Cars for all that information. We're going to stay with the phones. We're going to go to Boca, where I believe we have Deck holding.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's tough to come in after that. That was a heavy call, very sensitive call. But
Yeah.
Mine is not like that, I think. Can I please have a question? I bought a 2007 Lexus RX 350 from a private person, and the car is wonderful. I knew everything. I had a pretty good idea, when I bought it, what I saw. But the front dash was cracked and kind of soft. So I figured I'd call Lexus and see what they will do about it. So when I called Lexus, they said there was a recall on it, but the recall finished in 2017.
Yeah.
My question is, do I have any recourse on that?
I don't think so. That's pretty far out of the time range. you tried and they turned you down, but if you were the original owner, you'd have a better chance. The fact that you're not the original owner hurts, and the fact that the car is 15 years old. There was a chronic problem with auto dashes. Lexus, Toyota, a lot of cars were having problems, especially in Florida, with cracked dashes. And we had cases with our customers where Toyota would go back several years and repair a dash, even though technically it was out. But you're pushing the limit when you go back 15 years.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I'm glad to hear it from the professional.
Well, I'm sorry I have to give you the bad news, but I think that would be it'd be just probably a waste of time for you, and no sense of doing that.
You're the one that got the whole thing going with Toyota, with the cracked and melting dash problem. It was a problem. Our customers were bringing it in, and it wasn't being acknowledged, and then they finally started paying attention and fixed them.
Yeah, we got some publicity on it. I went to WPTV Channel 5. They came out and did a special story on the cracked dashes. So, we take pride in the fact that we probably created the national attention, eventually, where these cracked dashes became. We thought it was just Toyota, and suddenly Honda had them, and Lexus had them, and pretty soon a lot of car manufacturers admitting apparently they're buying their dashes from the same supplier. And in the Sun Belt states like Arizona and Florida, they were cracking. The way I got the media's attention is our customers were complaining the dashes not only cracked, but they melded to some extent, the hot sun, and they would get a slick look on the dash. So the sun coming in would reflect off the melted dash and became a safety issue. So once you say safety issue to an auto manufacturer, they get really frightened. The lawyers say, you better do something about it. So that's how we got their attention. Now that I go over that, you might consider one last shot, maybe go in writing to Lexus and just say that your dash is reflecting the sun based on the condition, and it's creating a danger to you when you drive. I don't think it'll work, but you put in this much time, you might give it a try.
That's incredible. It sounds like a terrific idea.
Worth a try. Good luck to you. Call us back next weekend. Let us know how you did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I will indeed, and thank you. What a great show you have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Keep listening. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to talk to Paul, who's calling us from Lake Worth. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hiya. Happy Saturday.
Thank you.
Cool. I think it's interesting that you're going to be shopping CarMax today.
Yes.
And I just happen to be of the philosophy that in the spite of everything, I think a buyer out there can still find a later model, really good used car for a fair price. Mm-hmm. So here's my question. Manufacturers certified used cars. And why does one car qualify for a certified program and others not? Same year, same model, same mileage, same dealer. What's the criteria?
Well, the dealer has to want to certify the car. It's a cooperative program between the manufacturer and the dealer. Now, the manufacturer sets up criteria, year, condition, and mileage, and you have to go through a checklist for a manufacturer certified car. And when you go through the checklist, if you fix the things that need to be fixed and it qualifies mileage and time wise, then you can certify it. But to certify it, you have to pay the manufacturer a certain amount of money. Now, that is probably the answer to your question. Some dealers choose not to certify, and some dealers do certify.
Okay, well, but what I'm saying is, for example, a Lexus dealer has a certified Lexus of 2020 and another 2020. Mm-hmm. So why would he not, if the vehicle is still under warranty to begin with, why wouldn't he fix what needs to be fixed to make it manufacturer certified?
Well, if the mileage and condition qualify it to still be under warranty, there's no reason why he shouldn't. It's still his choice. It isn't a very smart choice, in my opinion. It could be all about the money, depending on how much he has in that other vehicle. He might have, he might have allowed too much money or paid too much money for that other vehicle, and he doesn't want to add another $600 to his cost because it'll cut into his profit when he sells the car. Here's what I advise people on certified cars. I say, if you have a car that qualifies for certification and you take it to your independent mechanic to check out, don't spend the money to have it certified. Just go ahead and buy the car. If it qualifies for certification and you've had it checked out by your independent mechanic, you save the money that the dealer would be charging you extra because he had to pay the manufacturer to certify it.
Because the extra warranties that you can get with certified, the free one is a powertrain warranty, which you're most likely never going to take advantage of. And then the extra warranty that you can get, it's a good deal, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because in the case of a Lexus certified vehicle, the certified warranty, at least on paper, looks to be just as good as anyone else's new car warranty.
Oh, yeah. It covers the same thing. It's comparable to the Lexus new car warranty, and the same with all the manufacturers.
Cool. Okay. Thank you so
when
much.
you're buying a Lexus, you're buying a very good vehicle. And my philosophy, this is just my personal philosophy, when you buy a top quality car like a Lexus, you really don't need the warranty. I mean, you take care of the car, you do the factory recommended maintenance, and the chances are you'll never use the warranty. So it's like a peace of mind expense.
Yeah, and that's all it is. It's a peace of mind thing. And when you buy a really high quality car that has been, gone over by Consumer Reports, and everybody says, "Oh boy, this is a good one," you can still get a good value.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome, Paul. Thank you for the call. Stick around, folks. Later on in the show, we have the mystery shop coming up with CarMax of Royal Palm Beach. Angel Lightning went out and did a great job again. And of course, the Spy Master General is right here with us this morning. And we're all going to welcome him again. Welcome, Stu.
Hello. It's good to be back.
It was quite a surprise seeing you walk through that front door.
I didn't give an announcement ahead of time, but listening to you guys on the radio at home, I got a serious case of FOMO, so I'm glad I'm back.
Oh, okay.
You ready for Anne-Marie's kickoff text?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We got a text from Anne-Marie. She says, "Good morning. What would you recommend the best time for customers to get insurance when they buy a car? Just after papers are signed, right before they take delivery, when they get around to it? Thanks."
Well, yeah, absolutely. You want to do it before you take the car home. And the dealer should really push on that because they're at risk also. I mean, with the lender, assuming you finance the car, you want to be sure you got the proper insurance on it because the lender requires that. So, yeah, by all means, before you drive the car home, be sure you have secured your insurance.
I would also add, I would feel more comfortable and advise that you don't put the insurance on the car until you've signed everything in the finance office, so there's no more surprises. A lot of people get very invested in the purchase, and you could put the insurance on as soon as you have the VIN number and the description of the car. And if you imagine doing that, and then an hour later you're in the finance office, in your mind you've owned it, you're insured that car, and it's a lot harder to say no to some of the pitch. So I'd wait till you're done signing all the papers and before you drive off.
And speaking of insurance companies, that's reminded me that Nancy read an article to me, and I think it was Automotive News, that I think State Farm or Allstate, a couple of the insurance companies have stopped insuring Kias and Hyundais that are easy to steal. And the speculation is that other insurance companies might be doing the same thing. So if you folks are thinking about buying a Kia or a Hyundai, check to see if it's on the list of it's easy to steal. You might want to check with your insurance company before you buy the car.
Yeah, great advice.
All right. Well, let's jump ahead to Bob from Naples, but actually he's Bob from the north coast of Cuba. He's on a cruise ship right now, just off of Cuba.
Really?
Yeah. Hope he's
We
having
never
a
had a
great
call
time.
from Cuba before.
No, technically he's in international waters, I'm imagining. So, Bob says, hope you are all well. Question, for us snowbirds, if we were to leave a car unused for 6 months in Florida, what things should we do to the car? It would be in a covered carport. And again, that's Bob from Naples. And this sounds like a Rick question.
Yeah.
The first thing I would do is find a neighbor or family member and have them come over about once every 2 to 3 weeks and take the car out for about a 5-mile test drive. If you can't do that, the next best thing you can do is get a solar-powered trickle charger. Even though it's in a carport, you're still going to get quite a lot of reflected solar radiation coming in. And those solar-powered trickle chargers can keep your battery charged up and help keep the car in good shape for you.
Now, I got to stop you there.
Hey.
You telling me that a solar-powered trickle charger will work in the garage?
No, carport.
He said a carport.
Oh, carport.
Carports are generally open on at least 2 or 3 sides. Therefore, you get sunlight that does
outside.
get reflected in.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a carport in my first house.
Yeah, and just the reflected light was enough to...
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a charger. I don't know if that's true.
In a garage,
know.
however, just get a trickle charger that plugs in the wall. And that actually will help keep your battery charged up and keep the computer systems alive.
I like the idea of having the neighbor do it. We've talked about having trickle chargers, but there's more benefit than just getting the everything charged up.
Absolutely.
You get fluids and other stuff.
Also, what you're going to want to have them do is once a month check the tire pressures, because 6 months' time, you're going to come back to flat tires. And it can also create what's called a flat spot on the tire, because it's sitting in one position for a long time. When you go to drive the car for probably the first 20 or 30 minutes, you might hear this thump, thump, thump noise as it keeps hitting that flat spot.
Yeah.
Also, your brake pads can actually start to rust just a little bit to the rotors and actually lock up to where you may have an issue with getting the brakes to work properly, and they'll be extremely noisy after sitting for a length of time. So the best option really is to have a family member or friend that can come over and just exercise the car a little bit.
Yeah,
I wonder
that's
what the situation will be with electric vehicles now. Like with a full charge, could it sit there idle for 6 months? I know you'd still have the issue with the flat spots on the tire, but could a Tesla S, Model S, charge up and sit for 6 months and still be drivable?
I think you'd still see some issues with the batteries because the Tesla still has a 12-volt system for the computers to keep the memory alive even while the car is turned off.
Does it have a separate 12-volt battery for that?
Yes, they do.
Okay, like a regular car.
And I would suspect that you're going to see those draw down over time. If you don't run Tesla for 6 months, I think it would that battery would wear out.
One other thing, you've always talked about the wireless or the keyless remote battery, and you want to be sure you keep that away from the car so it doesn't keep trying to reach the car.
Yes, minimum 20 to 30 feet with at least 1 or 2 walls between the key and the car.
Yeah.
Will keep the two from trying to communicate back and forth.
Yeah. So
You know,
want to
there
put
was
that,
just-
you want to take that with you or put it away from the car. So.
Yep.
There was a lot of our listeners that were, unaware of that, Rick, and that was great advice that you gave out on more than one occasion about the remote, and also to the person that's on the cruise. I've left, Earl and I have left for 2 weeks, and I've come home to a dead battery. So it's key what you said, you should really find someone who will run your car at least not around the block, but for several miles, just to, as you said, give us some exercise. That's great advice.
Warm up the engine and just exercise it, basically.
Yeah. And Stu, I did not know that about the electric vehicle. I just thought that was a shoe-in. You could just leave it sit.
That's what I was thinking, but I got thrown off course with the 12-volt battery that they have it just like... I should have known because the hybrids have a 12-volt plus the hybrid battery.
Well, and a quick word here from Donovan. He says flat spots would definitely be an issue, but the 12-volt battery is lithium, and the main battery loses only about 1% every 3 weeks. And he says all Teslas have a 12-volt lithium battery, but not all EV makers do this.
Okay.
So I would still be concerned about that 12-volt battery.
Yeah.
And even on a Tesla, I'd say it's still a good idea. get it out and drive it a little bit. Let things exercise. Cars aren't meant to be sitting.
And,
They need air.
We'll take a moment to thank Donovan. You know, he's such a big part of the show. He's
I'd
he's
love
patched
to do
us
that
in a
sometime.
lot of
We've covered
information.
that
Awesome.
subject pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have some anonymous feedback. It says, and we don't know who sent it. How would the out-the-door price be impacted if I order the car in 2022 and it arrives in 2023? I don't know how much it would be impacted from 2022 to 2023. Depends on when it arrives. We're anticipating new car prices to come down throughout the year, later on in the year, following this used car decline. So I think your out-the-door price would most likely go down. For example, if you bought a car, I'll use our dealership for an example, bought a car, ordered it in December last year in 2023, and it comes in later in the year, and if prices have come down, and we'll be following the market, and we're going to want to stay on this low end, we'll be below MSRP then, whereas now we're anticipating, deliveries now are done at MSRP. But when the prices come down, it should follow the market prices. If you have an order with a dealer that is going to try and keep you to the MSRP or the above MSRP price 6 months from now when prices come down, don't buy the car and don't worry about it. There'll be plenty of cars to choose from.
Well, if you easier said than done. I mean, if you bought a car and you put a deposit down, signed a contract, you bought a car, and you can.
But not until you drive it off the lot in Florida, at least.
Well, no, that's not exactly. That's not entirely true. That's part of the full consummation. But if you sign a contract and you put a deposit down, for sure you don't get the deposit back.
Right.
And in terms of the dealer forcing you to buy the car, that's another issue. But technically, he has a case. So yeah, be careful if you're buying a car today. You don't want to. You have to realize you can't be locked in for the price. So clear that up. Say, I'm giving you this. I'm signing at this price. If prices come down, I want you to understand. I'd like to have the lower price, and then you have to get that in agreement. And that way, you're locked in.
Great advice, and it's all free, folks. Give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Mimi from Miami, I'm sorry we couldn't get to you in time. I promise if you call back, we'll interrupt what we're doing and we'll take your call. We're going to go to John in Palm City. Welcome back, John.
Hey, John, you there?
Yes, John Lynn. Yes. Hello?
Okay.
Welcome, John.
Yes. I just want to give a little advice. The gentleman with the 2010 Corvette, I would recommend that he goes to the newsstand and pick up the Bible of the collector car industry. It's a publication called Hemmings Motor News. It comes out once a month. He'll get a general idea. There'll be other Corvettes advertised in there, and he may want to send an ad in himself if he's willing to wait a few. And that's a good publication to get a general idea of what his car might be worth.
Great.
I also we all need a good cheering moment when everything's going on with spies and balloons and interest rate raises. We all need an uplift. And I want to recommend a place that I just went to this week, a museum. It's an art museum in Vero Beach. And they have a special exhibit till April 30th called Art Deco, and it has 20 of the most beautiful cars, the rarest cars in the world. Cars are on loan from General Motors, Chrysler, over in Court, Duesenberg Museum, Peterson Museum from California. I've never seen an assembly of such fantastic, mostly cars of the 30s, on one display, and it's Vero Museum, Earl Art Museum. And it's held till April 30th, and it's an experience. We all need a good museum visit and automobile uplift in life.
Well, that's great news. And my favorite expression is, boy, that's a doozy. And I've never seen a Duesenberg. I might want to drive up there
Wait a
just to see
minute.
it.
Are you telling me that expression comes from the Duesenberg car?
Exactly.
What a
Yes, it
doozy.
does.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh,
Well, the one thing
That's the best thing I ever learned on the show.
There's bands that you and I even never even heard of, like a Ruxton, a Corsair, a Panhard, a Tatra, which is a Czechoslovakian car, a Graham, a Talbot. I mean, you name it. a stout scarab. There's a car there even that has a steering wheel in the center part. You could buy it, and you could get a left-hand or a right-hand drive or a center. There's another car that has tables and chairs inside the car.
Wow.
It's just unbelievable.
Gosh.
And fantastic restored cars, one of a kind, and it's just an experience, and it's well worth to visiting.
And what's the name?
Vero Museum, Art Museum.
Art Museum
Vero
in
Beach, Florida.
Vero Beach. Oh.
Boy, that sounds like a entertaining day of fun and finding out so much you didn't know about cars. John, you have the greatest calls. You always have something
we
for
had a
us.
call last week, John, about a woman had a car, and I said, you need to get hold of John from Palm City, and we never got hold of you. Do you remember what car that was?
I'll look into that.
Yeah, well, I've got it in my notes from the last show, and now that you're...
Well, you have my number when I call into you, so I'll be glad to try and help people. That's what I've done all my life.
Yeah.
And
Well, thanks,
I'm very
John.
happy to give the assistance to people. It's my way of thought to help people, like you guys do on the radio.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're great, John.
Thank you guys for being there.
Thank you. Thanks for the call week in and week out. We are going to go back to Mimi's call. Thanks so much for calling back, Mimi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sometimes we
Excuse
can't
me.
take the calls immediately. Sorry for the wait.
That's okay.
What
That's
can we do
okay.
for you?
Listen, I'm old enough, I don't care. I love Art Deco, by the way. It's so lyrical and back to nature, very beautiful. My my 2008 Dodge Grand Caravan, the one with the wheelchair possibilities, it had an engine light go on, so I took it to Advanced Auto Parts over here on 45th Street, and they were kind enough to figure out that it was the knock sensor. Now, I don't know what that is. The car drives just fine, although I've been really careful. I only take it, like a few miles away at a time, for the grocery or something like that. What my question is, I won't get it to a mechanic till next Thursday when arrangements will be made. How far can I go? Can I take it out every couple of days for a little drive, or should I let it sit, or what is a knock sensor? Not expensive either. It's a little thing, I guess.
Yeah, you'll be just fine to drive it. Do you remember in the old days when we used to have the leaded gasoline, and you had what was called a spark knock or a ping when you would accelerate the car?
Yes.
You'd step on the gas, you hear this tick, 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 while it was revving up a bit. That's spark knock. And on modern cars where the computer can control the ignition timing, the knock sensor actually detects that spark knock or that ping before it can start even. At the moment it hears it, just the first little tap of it, the knock sensor detects it, and the computer will adjust the ignition timing to reduce that spark knock, to make it go away. And ordinarily what happened is when you had that spark knock in the old cars, your mechanic would either adjust the timing a little bit to reduce it down. Of course, that costs you a little bit of power, or you had to step up to a higher grade of gasoline with higher octane, so it burns slower and would reduce that spark knock. But modern cars now, they've designed it to where it can automatically adjust the timing just a little bit to make that knock go away, and then it will keep bumping that timing back up just to the point where it's about to knock, and as soon as it starts to hear it, it drops it back again. So it's constantly adjusting it. But when the knock sensor stops working, the computer will actually reset the timing back to a pre-programmed value and set it back just a little ways. So you might actually lose like a tiny little bit of performance that most people won't even notice. You'll never even realize that it happened. But once you get the new one in, that'll clear up that check engine light and everything will be fine. But you're completely safe to drive the car until you can get it taken care of.
Thanks, Rick.
Oh, thank you so much. It makes me feel better. I'm so happy to listen to your show. Thanks again.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Mimi. We're glad we could help. Rick always has the answer.
And I learned something new. I never knew what a knock sensor was. I thought a knock sensor was my dog when he barks when they knock on the door.
My dog's good at that.
I thought it was something to do with the front door too, like it's a doorbell.
Give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Boy, I can't wait until my cough is cleared up and I can talk like Nancy.
And Rick, you sound terrible.
We're
we're
ready for the lungs.
I just got better.
Can I tell a Tesla story?
We have Marty
Okay,
holding.
okay.
So
I'll tell it later.
if you could just hold that thought,
So
we'll
no.
go to. We'll, that's right. Marty, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, good. Glad to see Stu is back in his chair.
Yes.
Thanks.
We are happy.
I got a couple points. Point one, in New York State, you could never take a car out. The car dealers used to have to call the insurance company, and you'd have to get your insurance card faxed over or whatever before you could ever take the car out.
Yeah.
In Florida, I think you got 30 days to change the insurance because they don't want you changing your mind on the car. They want you to take the car out 1 minute after you've signed the paper.
And you got to have a license plate and registration before they'll let you take it home.
Right, right. My second point or question is, now that these interest rates have gone up, what about the leases? I don't think there's any more bargain leases on anything.
Fewer, I mean, for sure. The industry is getting nervous about that. The dealers and the manufacturers are really starting to get nervous because they aren't leasing very many cars. And leases are their prime, not only do you make more money on a lease, but you're able to get the about 50% greater return to purchase or lease when a person leases than when they buy. So leasing is down from like 30% of deliveries down to like 10 or 15%. And they're trying everything they can to get that percentage higher.
Yeah. Now, I went over to Ed Moore's Honda. My wife's got a CRV, but the lease is not up till April of 24.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer her getting a RAV4, but just for me to check it, I went over there, and the guy said, even if you have $3,000 or $4,000 worth of equity, he said, the lease price in the same car is over $150 a month more than we're paying now. So I told him, well, I'll just buy the lease out then at the end if it's the same in April of 24. And he said, it's the only smart thing to do. He said, don't. He was very honest, and he said, don't bother with a lease.
Yeah, the residual values were very, very high 3 years ago, and then they overestimated the value of these cars, and it's just, they underestimated is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So now they've overreacted in their new residuals, I'm afraid.
And what Nancy said in the beginning, she said, tell us if you're still waiting for your car. I'm waiting now 11 months.
Are you? Yeah.
From your dealership.
Yeah.
So I know it's a long wait. So I'm not figuring on a 23. I'm figuring on a 24.
Yeah.
Right, Stu?
Yeah.
What's great is
Anything's
that
possible, Marty.
you realize, how long you're going to wait. I had several phone calls this past week, and to my surprise, they were surprised that they were still waiting for their vehicle. And in these times, you still have to have some patience. But Marty, let me ask you this question. Were you surprised that the interest rates went up again? What is this, the 9th time?
Yeah, well, I think now what they said is so many people had new jobs. What they say, 517,000
Right.
jobs, and it's going to still keep going up.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing: the banks, they're not paying out. They definitely went up in their interest rate, like on CDs, but they think the interest rate is eventually going to come down.
Yeah. Well,
and they're not locking people in for 5 and 10 years. They're making sure they maybe have a 1-year CD
for people who are thinking about buying a home or buying a new car, this it's a game changer. But on a more positive note, credit unions are going to be getting a lot of business. That's the way to go.
And I just want you to know, as far as the car I'm looking for, there's not any dealership out of the all South Florida guys in Pompano and in West Palm Beach. Nobody has like a hybrid Camry XLE. It's nobody has it. Nobody's ever seen one, I don't think.
And you may never see one.
That's why we call them unicorns.
Yeah. And if I don't see it, well, right now I've got 3 years on my car, so I guess I can 6 years. Maybe it'll be a classic before.
There you go.
Yeah, we're calling John from Palm City to find you
Right.
a buyer. Yeah.
All right, so have a good one.
Marty, thanks for the phone call. We love talking to you. Have a great
Okay.
weekend. 877-960-9960 and 772 is where you can text us, 772-497-6530. We're going to go back to Stu, and we're also going to get in touch over here with Rick when Stu's finished.
Okay, we have a text here, and it's a doozy.
A doozen.
D-U-E-S-I-E. Doozy. All right, listen to this. Follow along. It's a little bit long. If a dealer takes a car in trade, which has a good title, and a short time later discovers that a couple of owners back on that title, the title had been washed. The fella who traded it in had bought that car not knowing about any of the title problems because it was a clean title when he got it. It turns out the trade-in was worth a lot less because of the washed title problems. The dealer then went after the fella who traded it in an attempt to recover the difference between the trade-in allowance and the actual cash value of the trade-in. And this owner refused to pay. Is the previous owner, the person who traded it in, legally responsible to pay the difference? I'm going to say no, but I'll turn it over to you.
You know, I think the original sin, the original time it happened, I think it goes back to that time. It would be a very awkward situation, probably practically speaking,
Right.
impossible
Legally to sort out.
Yeah, but I think with odometers, the dealer that traded it in with the bad odometer, even if the owner was guilty of sending it back,
It's the dealer.
The dealer was the one that you'd have to go after for any consideration. And subsequent dealers, I don't think would be held responsible. But if there's any lawyers out there listening,
Yeah.
correct me. But I think that's the answer.
I think also it's up to the dealer's due diligence to make sure the vehicles are taking inventory. They have clean titles, and most dealers don't do title checks. Right there, you do a Carfax, and the Carfax will alert you to title checks. So that would be my question: did it show up on the Carfax or auto check report? Because that's the first clue usually if you see there's a title issue. All right.
Exactly.
All right, the next, we have another text from Jim in Indiana. Good morning, Stu. Hey, Jim. So glad to have you healthy and back. You've been sorely missed. The show just isn't the same without I shouldn't be. Somebody should be reading this to me. The show just isn't the same without your contributions and you. Thanks, Jim. I'm touched.
Okay.
I think we're caught up. I'm going to log back into the.
I'll tell my Tesla story.
Perfect timing.
I just want people know that I drive. Next thing I have actually a Plaid, the fastest Tesla S model, but they call it the Plaid, and we love it. We have a lot of fun with it, and but because we own the Tesla, we talk to a lot of other Tesla people, and we read a lot about Tesla. So I just like to keep all you Tesla folks out there updated. By the way, when I'm driving on the road now, I'm seeing more and more Teslas. It's number one selling electric car in the world. I mean, it's hard to believe the volume that vehicle is getting. But I had a problem with the Tesla the other day, and the windshield washer, not a big deal, and I lived with it for a while. I even took it into our dealership, and they said, well, we can't do anything. We'd have to take this apart, and it would be a warranty issue. So I brought it home. So finally I decided, or somebody called the show.
What happened was it all began with me filling the reservoir. Because I
Yeah.
like doing that. I
Yeah.
liked filling mine, and I like filling the Tesla. And I thought it would be very interesting to compare the Tesla to the Avalon in the experience. Yeah, I get excited easily. But at any rate, I'll continue with the story.
So we contacted Tesla on the app that I have on my iPhone, and they said, we will send a technician out to your home and take care of it. I thought that was really cool. So sure enough, Jeff, the technician for Tesla, came out, and he had his Tesla in the driveway, and he had his tools and whatnot. And so I said, well, make yourself at home. Anyway, he jacked the car up in the garage.
You know, Rick, you would have loved this. I had to go out because I just really get into this stuff. And he had like his little doctor's bag. He had a little mini jack. He had all these little tools. And it was amazing what he could do in our garage where we didn't have to take the car in.
Cool.
It turned out great.
Did he fix it?
And the wipers work.
Did he fix it?
Yes. He found out that it needed a new motor. Now, you would think, and this is amazing to me, what are the chances of him having a windshield washer motor
In his doctor's bag?
in his pack? So,
Well, you told him that that the wipers, the washer didn't work, right?
and he said that this is practically never the problem.
Huh?
He said it's the first time he's found a situation where the windshield washer motor went bad.
Yeah,
So
this
Maybe
was
he always
pretty
brings
unique.
one, and
But-
it just didn't turn out that way. Yeah.
But he was smart.
everybody jump in
And he
here.
brought it along.
Everybody jump in. I mean,
Hey,
I
we're
just have some
excited.
you
questions.
tell my story for me, will you, all of you?
Hey,
Sorry, I'm just praising the mechanic because he was smart enough
I
to
have
bring
never
that
had
part.
the experience of someone coming out to the house. Usually they have to take the car back because they don't have the tools. They have to order the part. I don't know if this was a fluke or not, but I was amazed in about an hour I had a new windshield washer motor. And he also told me something very interesting I never knew. And you Tesla owners, listen to this. If you have an issue with your Tesla, any kind of a glitch, you're driving along the road, a glitch, and you have a problem, you hit your little speak button where you talk to your Tesla and you say, bug fix. And when you say bug fix, it goes straight through to the tech at Tesla in the world, and the computer automatically takes a digital picture of your vehicle at the instant.
That the problem's happening. It's kind of like when we deal with service customers and it's an intermittent problem, and we ask them to describe it, we ask them to take videos. This is at that moment you have a technician paying attention.
And then he looks at what he's looking at, and he calls you and tells you what the issue is and whether to take it to the dealership or
Get out of the
to
car
do a
immediately.
reboot. By the way, when I told the technician I didn't know about that, and thank you very much, I said the last time I had a issue, I was backing out of my garage, and I got right up to across the street in front of my neighbor's house, and it wouldn't go out of reverse. So I
Bug
Bug
rebooted.
fix. Bug fix.
I rebooted. He says reboot is the best thing you can do. He says reboot and bug check. So all you
Bug-
Tesla owners out there, I think it's really cool.
oh,
Bug check or bug
it's-
fix?
Yeah,
Bug check.
bug check.
Bug check.
Bug
Bug-
check.
I didn't know about that when I was driving.
B-U-G-C-H-A-C-K.
what great
They don't tell
times.
you. I mean, I just
I learned a lot on the show. I've been gone too long. I had a problem with that Tesla that I was driving, and it was glitching, like the screen would go off, and I didn't know about bug check.
Yeah.
So I went on the app and got the service. I couldn't talk to anybody, and they came out to the dealership, our dealership, to fix the car. They weren't able to fix it
Well,
there.
if you want to talk to anybody, I have Jeff's cell phone number.
Yeah, we have
You got
a
his personal number, really?
personal
A local-
telephone
okay.
number.
Well, I don't need that.
And while you were away, Stu, we were talking. Earl and I were talking about the autonomous feature that we tried to utilize, and we made a lot of enemies on the road.
Well, you're still alive.
We got
That's
called a
encouraging.
lot of names. We got the finger. There were a lot of things going on. We were attacked.
You're probably not the only ones.
But right now, we're reporting a lot of good stories right now about Tesla, and there are a lot of good stories. So, autonomous is for us to go out into the country
Yeah, Rick
and
has a
drive
phone.
Away
around
from
like
people.
crazy. Rick?
This is from Donovan. The Toyota Corolla has been the best-selling car in the world since 1974. In 2022, they sold 1.1 million units. Looks like that's coming to an end in 23. The Tesla Model Y became the fourth best-selling car in the world in 2022, selling 759,000 units. With the recent surge in sales, new factories are ramping up and the rate in growth in sales. it's looking like an American car will be the best-selling car in the world this year. He says, in Germany, Tesla sales were up 912% in January of 23 versus 22. That's because of the price drops. And Johnny Z. Fradley had come in also to say the lower Tesla prices will definitely help it reach number one.
Now, that's a good tie into this anonymous feedback. They said that it says nice to read that Elon Musk and Tesla is selling the Model Y in China for about half the price of what's being sold in the U.S.
It's amazing what's happening with the Y and the price and how it's gone down. But Donovan, we have a chair right here for you in the studio.
That's
Boy,
right.
I'll tell you, you're filled with all kind of information. We'll squeeze them in.
We have one extra microphone.
Now, we're saying a lot of good things about Tesla. To be fair, here's something bad. And it really surprises me. I've talked negatively about the Tesla self-driving, the total autonomous feature, and Nancy and I have had some bad experiences with it. It isn't what it was cut out to be. And Consumer Reports recently tested all of the autonomous drive technologies, and Tesla was number 2 out of 12. Now they've dropped to 7. So Tesla's losing ground in their autonomous driving, and Nancy and I are witnesses to this. We've had some scary issues with that. We've actually had the car stop in a busy road. We've had our car want to make a left-hand turn from the right-hand lane. So there's some glitches in the autonomous, and Consumer Reports slap Tesla down on that.
Yeah, but that's basically it, the autonomous feature that can, that you're led to believe that you can just go,
wide open throttle.
Wide open, and that's not the case. Autonomous, we need more autonomous out there in order for us to each understand each other, because we're creatures of habit with our gas-driven cars, and this autonomous is just stopping where she shouldn't stop, and you get the point. Okay, folks. I hope everyone enjoyed Earl's story about the Tesla, and I know we did. And if you'd like to talk about the Tesla, or maybe a purchase that you made or you've leased, or a car you're waiting for, give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960. And I do have $50 for one more new female caller, so give me a call before we run out of time. I have that right here, holding it in my hands for you. So give us a call, 877-960-9960, and text us at 772-497-6530. I think Rick has some things for us.
We've got a couple here yet. Guy Larrabee says Toyota announced that they'll be producing an EV Hilux, which is a pickup truck, smaller than Tacoma in foreign markets. With Ford's success with the Maverick here, is there any chance of seeing that EV Hilux in the U.S.?
We haven't heard anything about that. Only recently did we get some information about Toyota's shift in their strategy with EV, kind of catching up a little bit.
Fired Akio.
Akio's gone, and is he going to remain on the board, or is he just gone?
He's around.
Probably. I don't know.
Okay, so
I was reading about that. Pardon me, Stu. I was reading about that in the automotive news in Satio.
Sato, yeah.
Yeah, he's
right
pretty
here.
excited, and he's only 53 years old.
Yeah.
Hey,
And he's got some plans.
Sato-san, good luck. Good luck. I hope
Akio is very happy.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard the news, that's the first thing I thought of. I thought it had to do with the EV. It could have been a strategic blunder on Akio's part, but we don't know.
They fell behind with the Prius, and they just didn't stay up to, and Rick broke
World
that
moves
news
fast.
last week.
But to answer your question about the Hilux, everybody likes the Hilux. It's an overseas vehicle. It's like a Tacoma. It's available in a vehicle. If you're a truck nut, then you know about the Hilux, and they're pretty cool. So an electric Hilux is pretty exciting, but no specific information about whether that's coming to the States. I don't know that.
I don't think so. I don't think it will. It's too small.
Yeah, we like our big EVs.
Yeah.
And Regina Downey says, hi, Earl. Last week, Karen was the lady that had called in about the 85 convertible Mercedes. And Jeremy should have the contact information, or you might have it, because I believe that she was a first-time caller. So we pass that information on to John to see, maybe get her some interest
Well,
on her
thanks very
car.
much.
That's a great idea.
Karen, that's right.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Rick, I'm going to go back to the phones where Richard is holding. And Charles, hold on. We'll be right with you. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good.
We're well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm a constant listener every Saturday morning. You're doing the Tesla thing this morning, so I thought I'd call in. I'm a Tesla owner. I've called before. I have a Model S. And I wanted to reinforce the good experience you had with the home service, my Tesla. I've had it 3 times, I believe, on various things, including a flat tire. They do a great job.
Yeah.
Boy, that's great.
What issues did you have, Richard? This was the first.
One was a flat tire, and they come right out, and they have a tire all mounted, and they take your tire back and fix it and put another one on for use. You can go wherever you want, and then later on you swap it.
Did they charge you for that service?
No, it's free.
Wow,
That is
that's
amazing.
I didn't know that. So not only warranty service.
You don't have a spare tire, so I thought I'd write. And I've dealt with it. Jeff has serviced. He's one of the guys who's been out to see me too, and
Wow.
he's good.
Boy, we learned something new today.
I didn't know that. So they'll
filter
show up with a brand new tire. They have your spare tire.
Amazing.
We got it. We'll drive it out to you. That's incredible.
Yeah.
They I also had them service the air conditioner filter, and you do that in the yard for about $60. The HEPA filter that's in the air conditioner. Eventually, it gets a little wet and mildewy, and you get an odor.
Well, I wish I'd known that. I've had 3 flat tires, and I took it to my dealership to have them fix it, and it would have been easier if I'd have called Tesla.
Yeah, call them. They come out, and like I say, and they know how. The reason I caution people, don't let anybody change the tire on a Tesla. They might not know how to jack it up. So it's a revelation of the kind of work they've done.
So you had
Also
your
had
air
a problem
conditioner
with my,
worked on.
Garage door opener. You know, the dash garage door opener, and where we work. Well, they come out and fix that for me too.
Richard, have you tried the Toyota self-driving on your S?
I was going to get to that. I'm a big autonomous fan. I watch it from day one. I've been the beta tester and all that sort of thing. It has improved steadily. Almost every month there's a considerable improvement in the driving and whatever. I understand you're concerned about the quick stopping, but that has improved where it does it easier now. I use it quite a bit. I've had it take me places. I do not use it in a really, really tight situation. You got to grit your teeth to do that. I've tried it, and it recovers, but it wants to make dodgy moves.
Yeah, and there's a lot of situations like that now. We have a huge amount of traffic on the roads here in Palm Beach County, and depending on the time of day, you're really in heavy traffic a good percentage of the time. And I get very nervous about my Tesla doing something strange.
It's great in stop and go traffic. Like you get a stop and go traffic with traffic lights, you turn that on, it just takes care of it. I use that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about heavy moving traffic where they're high speed, things are happening quick. I don't use it there.
Too scary.
It became a bigger problem because of the intensity of the construction that's going on in our area, which led the autonomous feature very confused.
I just did a test going up to my friend in Palm City from Jupiter, and I put it on the drive in my yard, and it took me put the address in. We went up there, and I went up the back way going up off of Pratt Whitney Road. And it had a couple of experiences that it performed flawlessly. One was a 4-way stop, and it so happened there was 3 other cars at the stop. Well, it stopped. It let the one on the right go first, and then it took its turn and went ahead, and it did all that by itself.
Oh, I'll be darned.
And on up the road, there was a construction site where they had orange barrels set up for a quarter of a mile or so up there before you turn on the Cannon Highway. And it responded to that, moved over in the right lane, and then went over into Counter Highway and stopped. And then it pulled out and went into the left lane for higher speed, and did all it by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gotten much smoother. I used it when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was jerky and it was kind of scary, but
That's encouraging.
I'm a proponent now. They're doing good, and by the way, I'm not a fan of Consumer Reports on their cars.
Mm-hmm.
They mess a lot. They need some good engineers on that thing. They don't. They mess a lot of stuff and they seem to have a vendetta against Tesla, to tell you the truth. So that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I know I go on and on about Consumer Reports, and I know they make mistakes. I've seen some of their mistakes, but the thing I like about them is when they make a mistake, they make a mistake. It isn't because they're in bed with the manufacturer or.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, and but you're right. They're not. They're far from perfect.
And I'm a subscriber. Don't get me wrong. I use it for all kinds of stuff
Yeah,
I buy.
yeah.
But I just on the cars, they're not real good. I mean, there's other podcasts and whatnot on Teslas that you'll learn a lot more.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to thank you for the bit about the bug fix. I didn't know that one.
Bug Jack.
Yeah, they should keep these things a secret. But I started to do it this morning, and we had a slight issue, but I wasn't fast enough. And but I'm gonna try to use it and see if I actually get a call back from a technician.
And Richard, I have a question for you before you go. And
Sure.
that feature that
I do have one more question. We got time. But go ahead with yours.
okay. Are you the only driver of that Tesla?
No, my girlfriend loves it.
Okay, so she drives it
By the way,
and you drive
I'm
it.
85 years old. We've talked before. I'm a retired Pratt Whitney engineer, rocket engineer.
Okay, so both of you drive the Tesla.
Yeah, I can't keep her
Okay.
out of it.
Do you have a problem with the feature that you can adjust by entering your name or your girlfriend's name? Is that an easy transition, or do you have a problem with that?
No, it works well. You just go to the dice. I'm in there under my name. She's in there under her name. And you just touch it, and it goes to your seat adjustment, mirror adjustment, whatever you got.
Interesting.
Have you tried setting it up and it doesn't respond, or what?
I'm sorry, I'm having a problem hearing you. What was the question?
Oh, I said, have you tried setting it up and it doesn't respond, or what is it doing?
Yes, it's definitely set up for both of us. But the transition is what's a little complicated when it comes to us, changing seats. But we're working on it.
When you touch the thing on the dice, it doesn't respond.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what he's saying.
I'm just trying to understand the problem.
He says when you touch the icon on the dash, does it respond to you?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, Richard, I just noticed that we've got like 3 or 4 calls backed up. We would love to hear from you again.
Yeah, I've got one about a Prius. When I get a chance, I'd like to talk to you about it.
Okay, fantastic. You know how to get in touch with us. Have a wonderful weekend. We hope to hear from you again. Okay, we're going to go to Charles, who's been holding, and Howard, hang on. We know you're there. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Charles. Okay, let's move to Howard. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you guys. I have a question about service. The question is this: when should you go to a dealership? What service or repair should you go to the dealership and not to an outside mechanic?
Really, just about anything that can be handled that is not warranty should be able to be handled by an outside mechanic. If it's something really in depth, like say electrical or possibly computer related, then I'd be looking at taking it to a dealership where the techs are going to be more specifically trained. But for basic maintenance, anything like that, basic repairs such as brakes, tires, belts, filters, outside mechanics are going to be a much cheaper option in most cases.
Yeah, my son had a Mustang, and he was up here in Florida, and he went to a number of non-dealerships. They could not fix the problem. This is in 2012. So he had to bring it to Ford. Ford charged him much more money, but they fixed the problem. So that's why I'm asking that question. 2012 may be different than today. So would you say in 2012 the dealership could do more than the outside mechanic?
It depends on the car. Cars have gotten so complicated now that the modern ones, everything is computerized, and without special training and certain special equipment to really diagnose the cars properly, a lot of outside shops are left with their hands in the air. But dealerships have one thing about it, though. The buck stops there. We really can't say, I'm sorry, we don't know what's wrong with your car and we can't figure it out, because the customer's going to say, no, it's your car, figure it out. You guys, you're Ford, you built this car, figure it out. Eventually they're going to have to.
And also the fact we have access to the manufacturer, and oftentimes if we have a problem we can't figure out, we can call to a technician for Toyota, and any manufacturer will have technical experts. They can actually send a factory person into the dealership to check the car out. So you have a much deeper resources if you have a very highly complicated problem. But when you're going the outside independent mechanic, it's a lot less money. You just want to be sure they're qualified, and you really always can't tell until you actually get into the trying to get the car fixed, and then sometimes it's too late. They'll go in, they'll log a lot of hours, they'll be charging you for their time, and they still don't fix the vehicle. So that's the reason you have to be sure you have a qualified independent.
That's great. I have another question. I'm not going to ask it because you backed up. I'll talk to you next week. Thank you very much for the information.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Howard. Thanks for your consideration. It is just by the clock 9:32. And Earl, do you want to get started with the mystery shop, or would you like to go to Stu and
Well, I think we have some time for text. Or any
Okay,
other.
we're going to go back to Stu.
All right, clear up the last text. We have one from Bob. Says, good morning. I'm listening to the show this morning, and it sounds like a lot of people are having issues occurring with their Teslas. Sounds like some minor ones, but it sounds like a lot are having issues. That's from Bob. And let's see here. We have one from Anonymous Feedback. Such corruption, really sickening the way these dealers get away with murder. Your best bet is to buy a car in a different state, because Florida is just bad news. Not a consumer-friendly state at all. You're spending your hard-earned money, but the dealers have all the rights. And it is tough in Florida, but we have had some silver linings, some encouragement recently with the Attorney General's office and some of the prosecutions that are going on and investigations.
I'm glad to hear you say that,
Well,
Stu.
Florida definitely is
It's bad.
The worst, and South Florida is really terrible. So, if you're in a position to get a car from a friendly state, we found Pennsylvania and Tennessee are a couple of states that we mystery shopped, and we've seen some very, very good dealers in other areas. So I think there's something about South Florida that is unique. And if I were not in the business and I was just a civilian out there trying to buy a car, I think I'd at least drive to North Florida.
Right. I think get out of the urban areas.
Yeah. I wouldn't buy a car in Fort Lauderdale or Miami. I don't know any dealers down there that I would want to buy a car from.
I'd go up to Lake City or Eustis.
Yeah. And as far as the previous text about the Tesla, Tesla is just a hot topic. It's fun to talk about. Elon Musk is a character. It's a phenomenon. So I think a lot of Tesla people like to talk about their vehicles, and we talk about the problems and the good things and the bad things. Nancy and I love our Tesla, but we also complain about the problems and the issues we have with it. But they're amazing machines, and I still think it. You heard Rick had a caller on YouTube. The Tesla Y is number 4 in the world.
Fourth best.
Yeah.
That's from
Fourth
Donovan.
best.
Donovan.
And Elon Musk, he's just a damn genius when it comes to marketing. He doesn't get enough credit for that. Think of this. Do you know another manufacturer that doesn't advertise their car? Tesla does not advertise. Have you ever seen a Tesla advertisement?
Nope.
All Elon Musk is he tweets and he goes on television and he's interviewed and people are begging him to talk.
But for a long time, he had the only electric car.
So
People sought him out.
and he's making a 23% margin, which is more margin than any manufacturer makes and any dealer makes. So he was able to cut the price of the Tesla Y by $15,000, and then
Still make a ton of money.
it qualifies for the $7,500 rebate as a $22,000 price cut, and he's still making a good margin.
Argument could be made that he made a pricing mistake in the first place.
So it's just fun to talk about. I can't stop talking about it. But trust me, as a Tesla owner, and I know a lot of people that own non-Teslas, I have fewer problems with that Tesla than other people have with their normal cars. Rick?
Here's a slightly different opinion from Steve Maggs.
Yeah.
Tesla sucks.
In my opinion, people who drive with Tesla's autonomous driving features are nothing more than beta testers for Tesla.
Of course.
Musk has admitted as much. He uses self-driving errors to improve the software.
Yeah. That's how it's going to work.
He says, my non-Tesla, Steve's non-Tesla, has a self-driving feature, which I only use on major highways since the cars are all going in the same direction and around the same speed. Reduces fatigue during long-distance drives. And to think that Tesla charges $6,000 for the owner to use the autopilot in a Model 3. I think it's even more money for some of the other models.
10.
Owners are actually paying Tesla to be their beta testers.
Okay, all right, you're absolutely right.
That's fine.
It is a beta product, but did you know that in the Tesla autonomous cars, the percentage of accident is fewer than the average car? So, yes, it's a beta program. Yes, it's not perfected yet. Yes, there are accidents, and yes, there have even been deaths. But the percentages,
Right.
if you buy a Ford or you buy a Buick or you buy a Honda, your chances of having an accident are much greater than in an autonomous Tesla.
And we're also, beta, I know it can be used as a pejorative, saying it's not ready for public consumption, but this is like a frontier, and I'm not defending techs, I'm talking about all EVs and autonomous driving. That's the only way it's going to happen is by feedback and real world experience.
Every
it's not gonna
new
be done in
model
the
of
computer
car that
lab.
comes out,
Yeah.
every car that hits the road for the first time,
Yeah.
for the first several years, you're a beta tester.
Yeah, and when
Just-
internal
that's the way it
combustion
is.
engines cars came out, 100 and something years ago, everybody was a beta tester.
Yeah. And
Sure.
nobody's being
It
forced.
happens.
No one's being forced to be a beta tester. You do it voluntarily, and you talk about it.
You pony up some cash and
Yeah,
have fun.
Exactly.
Look how many times your cell phone updates over the course of a month.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not beta testing.
Yeah,
Same thing.
And with my Tesla, by the way, I just found out, I don't know if the Stu knows this, you're supposed to leave the Tesla plugged in all the time. When you every night, you're supposed to keep your Tesla plugged in.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because they do constant software updates, and you will have continuous.
And if you're not plugged in, they don't do it.
If you're not plugged
'Cause
in,
it
they
draws
do it. Yeah. So, but at any rate,
Learning a whole lot about Tesla and AI, EVs. It's all here, folks. It's not in the future. It's here. It's now. We are going to go to our mystery shopping report. That mystery shopping report is from CarMax and Royal Palm Beach.
And written by ChatGPT.
Pardon me?
And written by ChatGPT.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. And folks, you can vote on the mystery shopping report by going to 772-497-6530. That's where you can text your vote on the mystery shop. It's real important we hear from you, so take advantage of that. 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
okay, CarMax is the largest used car dealership chain in the United States, probably the world, with over 200 locations. They're established in 1993. CarMax has built a reputation for offering a stress-free car buying experience with focus on customer satisfaction. Companies no haggle pricing policy, wide range of used vehicles are the reasons why CarMax has become the most popular choice for used car buyers. We've recommended CarMax over and over, and we still do on this program. In this report, Agent Lightning will be exploring the CarMax sales experience at the Royal Palm Beach, that's South Florida location, amidst the current market of declining used car prices. She will provide an in-depth look at what it's like to purchase a used car at this CarMax location and how the dealership is adapting to the current market conditions. This report is aimed at providing our listeners with valuable insights and information about the CarMax sales experience. Agent Lightning has been our eyes and ears in the field through some of the craziest times in the car business, and it looks like the times are changing again. So here's a report, speaking as if I am Agent Lightning. I recently visited the CarMax location in Royal Palm Beach, Florida, to investigate their sales experience. Upon arrival, I was greeted by a salesman named Lee, who was unlocking the doors. As I walked up, Lee asked if I had an appointment with anyone in particular, and I told him that I did not. He then invited me to follow him to his desk. I showed Lee the car I was interested in on my phone, and he turned the computer screen on so we could both see it together. He asked me if I had checked out the Carfax's report online, and when I told him that I was unaware I could, he pulled it up for me and printed it out.
That's nice.
The report showed that the car had only one owner and no accidents, which was a positive aspect. Lee suggested that we go find the car. We headed out to the lot. He pointed out their lots were usually full, but tax season was causing cars to sell quickly. I kind of doubt that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's unusual for a Carfax salesman.
It's also a little early for anybody to have their taxes back yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little early, yeah.
Very early.
So I think Lee shouldn't have said that. We spotted the car right away, and we approached it. Lee apologized for how dirty it looked and explained that it just arrived and needed to be detailed. He pointed out that the tires looked brand new and had low miles. Now, in full disclosure, I asked that we check and see what would be a good vehicle for us to talk to CarMax about. We had an ulterior motive for going into CarMax because we talked on the show last week about how CarMax has fallen behind the times in adjusting the prices of their inventories, and that their sales and profits were down, and that they were higher in their inventory cars than they should be because they were hesitant to write their cars down and take the pain of and the loss, financial loss of adjusting the cost of your inventory when it's too high. So we went in to check out cars that we knew had been there for a long time, and this Highlander was one of them. The window sticker showed the same price I saw online, which was $40,998. Now, that number was $7,000 higher than what the current wholesale value of that vehicle is. Now, you don't mark a car up $7,000, at least CarMax doesn't, and so that tells us right there that they're in the car too heavy.
Yeah, they're not trying to rip somebody off and make $7,000. They're trying to get out of something they bought several months ago.
Yeah, and you could say, well, that's their decision, but the decision is a selfish one. People don't like to lose money. And when you're a public corporation, it's dangerous to lose money because everybody knows about it, and you're making profit, and you're a hero, and suddenly you realize you've got too much money invested in your cars. The prudent thing to do and the business wise thing to do is to adjust your inventory to the market. They have CarMax has chosen not to do that. So we'll see how that...
Take a piece of wood and bite on it too really hard,
exactly right.
And then take the pain.
So $40,998, that's about $3,000 more than what my dealership would charge for that same vehicle. After starting the car and taking a look around, I was impressed with its condition. We headed back inside. Lee, the salesman, promised to provide a detailed buyer's order. He explained that CarMax's salespeople work on salary rather than commission, which is a good thing, which he said is much nicer for customers. And it certainly is. When a salesperson is paid a percent of the profit, and the salesperson has the ability and the authority to set the price, you're talking about a pure adversarial relationship. You might as well get into the boxing ring with somebody else. You are their enemy. You are enemies. He's trying to get the price higher, and you're trying to get the price lower. At CarMax, it's salary. The salesperson has to sell the car for what CarMax said the price is, and that's it. He's not going to make more money or less money. He just makes less money if you don't buy the car. He added that there are no hidden fees or information, and the prices are non-negotiable, with only a $399 dealer fee and a 90-day 4,000-mile warranty plus any remaining warranty from the original dealer. Now, that's not quite true either. And later on, when we checked the buyer's order, we found out they did have an electronic filing fee, and that is another name for a hidden fee or a dealer fee. I'm not sure that Lee, the salesperson, even knows that, but it is true that these tag agencies fees and electronic filing fees are just another name for a extra profit to the dealer.
I wonder if he ever asked why on their buyer's order it says optional.
Exactly.
Wouldn't he think that was when he makes that statement before? And I'm sure he's studied his own buyer's order.
And it says optional in the fine print on the buyer's order.
Yeah.
I mean, it's by the
by the charge, but it's smaller.
And people, you're not going to see that. I mean,
well, Agent Lighten didn't see it either. I mean, it's very small. I wouldn't have seen it except for trying to blow up a PDF to.
So why would CarMax put that in there? Because if you ask a person, would you rather pay $39 more profit to me, or would you prefer not to? What's the answer going to be?
I don't care.
So why do you put it on the buyer's order in the first place? Okay.
Say it's $39. I just
Lee,
spent
the salesman
$50,000.
also mentioned that CarMax sells extended warranties and walked me through the options available for the specific make and model of the car I was interested in. He also mentioned that he didn't mention whether or not he gets a commission on the extended warranty, and I don't know. He also mentioned that if I took the car to a CarMax or Repair Pal certified shop, I'm not familiar with Repair Pal. Are you?
No.
I wasn't either.
I'm familiar with PayPal.
That's one word, one word, REPAIRPAL, Repair Pal certified shop.
Mr. Kearney is Googling it.
I would receive a $50 discount on the deductible for each repair. Probably owned by CarMax. Finally, Lee took me through the process of inputting my information, including a recall check with the vehicle identification number, and reached the screen for the buyer's order. He excused himself, print the order, and returned a few minutes later with it. The top line was $40,988. As I said, that's about $3,000 more than my dealership would charge for that car. And it's $7,000 over what the current wholesale market value is for that car. A $399 CarMax processing fee was added. That's what they call their dealer fee, hidden fee, whatever you want to call it. And a $34 optional, which is kind of silly, electronic filing fee. Lee thanked me for visiting CarMax and handed me his card. So that is the report. I will say this, that the buyer's order, and Agent Lightning commented on it, was one of the easiest to understand to read. It's fairly standard, though.
And it's a real buyer's order. It's
yeah.
not just a worksheet.
And there's a picture of it. I mean, it just... and the fact that you would see a buyer's order, usually you see a worksheet. So with CarMax, they give you a buyer's order is a legal document, and they show you that, and you can sign it, and you can commit right away. And so it's very upfront. Rick?
Apparently, Repair Pal is a website that you can go to, put in your make, model of car, and what repairs you're looking to have done, and they will send you a list of repair shops.
Certified. It's similar to the collision thing that we're doing. It's a network of repair shops.
Oh.
I put in our zip code, Palm Beach, Mitsubishi, and then a lot of small independent shops in Riviera Beach.
And it says they have from 64 reviews, they have a rating of 2.6 stars. So
that's not good.
Not very good.
But they're not owned by CarMax. They're just
no, it's just an outside source apparently that, and the way they make their money is the repair shops pay them 10% of the amount that they sell the customer for work. They send back to Repair Pal to give them a cut of the pie there.
I was looking for some connection to
pretty good
CarMax.
trick.
I don't see anything.
I mean,
Anything.
So the 10% is probably going to be more than the $50. So they're actually, if you go through Repair Pal, you end up paying more money because they got to pay 10% to the shop, and the shop's got to charge you 10% more to make up for that. But they're giving you 50%. Oh
boy,
Mickey Mouse. Thanks for checking that out, Rick. That's surprised me a little bit about CarMax. So there are a couple little surprises about CarMax, but they're still, I think they're still recommended. We'll see after we get the votes on this shopping report.
Let me see what's coming in.
Yeah.
And what do you got, Rick?
I've got, let's see, Tom Steckel, A-. With the gross margin they're earning on the sales price, they shouldn't be charging any fees. However, it sure beats having to haggle for hours to get addendums and fees reduced from a dealer. Tim Gilliland, B+. Kevin Bryson, B. Mark Ryan, B. Mark Smith, B. Scott Hunter, B. Johnny C. Fradley, B. At least there aren't fees galore. Andrew Plasinski, although the price is a little higher than it should be, CarMax is a clear cut and dry business deal, B+. Brian Sidlatko, I like the CarMax has no pressure tactic. Grade is a B. Rocky Blockatiel is a B. And let's see here. Kirk in West by God, Virginia. CarMax Royal Palm Beach. Just because you're underwater doesn't mean I want to be too. A big boo on the electronic filing fee, but everything else seemed reasonable and above board, so CarMax earns a C-. Joseph Kelleher, a D. No dealer fees in upstate New York on used cars, not even a dock fee. That's interesting. Negan 1 with a D. For myself, I'm going to say, I'll say a C, because it seems like a pretty average thing, but that little extra dealer fee of the $39 added on, the $399, just put that in the price of the car.
Go back to the guy that says there's no dealer fees or dock fees in upstate New York. Is there a way, can we contact him?
Joseph Kelleher. He says, no dealer fees in upstate New York on used cars. Hey, Joseph, how about call in to us real quick if you would? Maybe, or send a text to Stu with some information where we can get in touch with you. That number for the text is
772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530.
Excellent. Yeah, Joseph, if you contact Stu, Earl definitely like to talk with you on that one a little more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Over here, we have from Bob says, I'm not grading today, but my wife, Agent Sprinkle, says C for CarMax. We have a C+ that just came in. Jonathan in Wellington, he says, I will give them a B. And I don't have anything on Facebook right now. As far as they got to do better than a C. They get a B. I'm not going to overthink it.
Yeah. Nancy?
Well, in light of all of Carvana's problems, and they have had a lot lately, I'm going to give them a C+.
Yeah, I think this issue of their inventory not being written down, it's a very useful thing to know. If CarMax has done it, a lot of car dealers have done it. Right now is more important than ever before to shop used car prices, because the salesman is helpless. If the owner of the dealership or the used car outlet is made the decision that he's going to stick with the prices that these cars were originally bought for and appraised for, then the salespeople are helpless. They're just going to try to sell the car for the money that they have to sell the car for. So we're in a transition period now on used cars, and we've learned now when the prestige used car seller in the world, CarMax, made the decision to stick with too heavy an inventory, there'll be a lot of other car dealerships that are doing the same. Mm-hmm. Carvana's probably done it, and I would think a lot of car dealers. So you could go to Auto Trader, and you can look at used car prices, and you should shop. It's difficult to shop a used car because each used car is unique, but you need to come up with some flexibility on that model that you're choosing and shop the price more than you normally would.
Another bit of advice, if you can, wait a little bit. The slide is occurring right now, so they're going to go lower. So if you can wait a little bit, wait a little bit.
What is your vote, Earl?
I'll go with a B, and I'll also say that with used car prices today, if you still have a lease out there, exercise your option to purchase. If you leased a car 3 years ago, you have got yourself a real bargain.
For now.
For now.
Yeah.
And so exercise your option. I wouldn't buy a used car. If I like my lease car, I would rather buy that. And then you could, even if used car prices come down, you might not be able to make a profit on your lease option purchase price, but you'll break even. If you buy a car now, you might pay $3,000 more than it's going to be 6 months from now. But if you exercise your purchase option, that's probably not going to happen. And a lot of people out there are doing that. One of the reasons why used car prices are stabilizing or where they are now haven't come down faster is because we're not seeing the used cars that are coming in.
And the dealers aren't getting those lease returns. Normally they'd go into our inventories.
Yeah.
Earl, I have to ask you, so would you go to Carvana to purchase a used vehicle in light of everything that's been in the news recently, all of the negative PR, between all the layoffs, between the lack of inventory, decline in sales, everything, would you?
Well, you've got nothing to lose by getting prices from everybody. Time is on your side, and with online, you're able to shop a huge number. Think about it. In the old days, when you shop for a car, how long did it take you to go to 3 or 4 dealerships? Right now, you can go to 3 or 4 dealerships in 5 minutes online. So why not go to 30 or 40 dealerships? If you want to spend some time, and go to Carvana, go to CarMax, go to a lot of the independents, and go to car dealerships. And if you have a flexibility of the car you want to buy, you'll come across a bargain. And
great advice.
Take a couple days.
Yeah, you could take the time.
Yeah.
It's in the end, you're the winner. Folks, we have come to the end of another show, and I want to give a special thank you to Stu, who showed up and surprised the heck out of us, and he is a huge part of the show. And there certainly was a big piece of the puzzle missing these past, what seems like forever, and it's just great to have him back.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Good to be back.
Everyone, tune in next week, 8 o'clock. We'll be right here. And to all of you, have a great weekend. Thank you.